Welcome to Tinker Tailor Gamer Scribe. So, by request, I was asked to show people how I pixelated things. So, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use a Bender model. Specifically, this bust right here. I like it because its overall design is very simple. And it has a very specific design, so it's recognizable. So it makes it easier to track how pixely it gets when you start messing with the pixelization. So anyway, download the files. I already have them, so I'm not going to download them again. But then once I have them, I am done with Thingiverse. That's where I got it, since I do design and not video game stuff. I'm going to use STLs. So I open up, this is Blender. It's a free, like 3D, all kinds of stuff program. Like you can do 3D animation and stuff with this. It's really cool. It is very free. I am not very good at using it, so you'll have to bear with me in general. This is a trick that I learned from just watching instructional videos on the internet. Well, because I needed to be able to do it for the crowns. So the cool thing is you can do it with basically any 3D object. I mean, I'm sure some will execute better than others in terms of how they look once they've been pixelated, but yeah, but it works on, well, I mean, every file I've put in here and tried it with. Not that there's been a ton there, but, anyway. So, so now we have the Bender head in Blender. I futzed with it a little while to get it semi-centered. So the tool we want to use is here called Remesh. And then it automatically goes to that sharp thing, and I think you can use that for like low poly, but we want blocks. And then here in that octree depth, the higher we make that number, the smaller the blocks will get. So it basically brings our definition back. And so like I have it up relatively high right here, and you can see, it's basically the exact same design, but a little blocked off. I thought it was a little bit too blocky, but you can see here, I mean, so like you can just keep kicking that up and it gets more and more, and then as I'm kicking it down, you can see how the blocks are getting bigger and bigger. I think this is just about perfect to meet the goal that we're shooting for here. So you can see I'm circling the scale right next to it. If you want to fine tune, like, the degree between like 6 and 7 or 7 and 8 on the octree depth, that's what you use scale for. I didn't want to mess with it because it looks just fine like it is. So all we have to do now is export that the STL that we've altered out, pretty much the reverse of the same way that we imported it in. And so I'm going to just use the file name that it is, and then I'll just make it pixel. So that way I can tell the difference. And then so now that we have it exported, we can take it over to a program where we can see the object a bit better. My kind of go-to is Tinkercad. So, because I really like how objects really show up well in Tinkercad. So we'll get loaded up into Tinkercad here real quick, and just open up a new design area, so that way we're not trampling over any of my previous futzings. So yeah, do the same thing, just import it in. You can see how we can mess with like the scale and stuff. I'm not going to worry about that. One thing I did notice doing the crowns, and then we'll notice doing with the Bender here, that it is going to take a while to import the Bender. And the reason why that is, at least I believe, is because Tinkercad is more of an engineering with 3D objects, like, like building and raw shapes and things like that. So how it renders an object is a little bit different, because I wanted at some point just to push the limit of what I could do with Tinkercad. And when it finally told me to stop, it was because there were too many, I can't remember the exact term it used, it was a while ago, but too many faces to it. So you can see how, like, the top of each of the squares and the side of each of the squares is a face. So the more of them that there are, the longer it takes Tinkercad to reconcile them. But anyway, here it is. It's imported, so you can see it really well. I think it turned out great. You can still tell that it is Bender, and it definitely looks pixel, like from a Super Nintendo game or something like that. So I think it turned out really well, and that's really all there is to it. So feel free to repeat at will. Until next time.